I think that there's a very strong tendency to want to talk about to want to talk about a global anarchist movement, or to talk about the anarchist struggle as this shared global struggle that transcends national boundaries, that goes beyond geographic boundaries. And to a certain extent that's true, and to a certain extent that is incredibly useful, and it's one of the things that we constantly have to be thinking about, is the way that we can tie what we're doing to struggles that are happening in other parts of the world, and certainly in other communities. But at the same time, I think it's so incredibly important to understand and to recognize that as a global movement, we're only as strong as the local struggles and the local communities that we work with. One of the things that I've found over the years is that we are most effective as organizers. We are most effective as people who are working towards social change when we are very much taking account of, and very much paying attention to, and very much trying to affect the things that are happening in the world around us. And I mean very much right around us. Yes, of course there's a global struggle. Yes, of course there are things that we have to be constantly paying attention to and learning from that are outside of our immediate context. But we also can't ignore the local. We can't ignore the people that are in our day-to-day lives. We can't ignore the fact that there's not going to be any widespread social change if we are not changing our everyday behaviors, if we are not actually working to make immediate impacts on the lives of the people around us. Then we're never really going to get anywhere. If we don't have strong local communities that are working together to make social change and are actually focusing on making those improvements in our everyday lives, then how are we ever going to have social change on a global scale? I mean, if it's not happening on a local scale, then it's hard to see how that's ever going to radiate outwards into something that affects the entire world. And I think that's one of the things that's critically important about the turn that anarchism has taken, at least in the United States, which is the context that I know. There has been a turn back towards local organizing. There has been a turn towards actually dealing with the material conditions of our everyday lives, of trying to build projects that are infrastructural, projects that are going to be there for us when social services aren't, projects that are going to be there for us when we need them, things that are going to withstand the ravages of capitalism, things that are actually going to concretely affect our everyday lives. And I think that's exciting. It's one of the things that continues to amaze me about anarchism, is the way that it does focus on the local, the way that it does provide a structure for addressing those concerns in our everyday lives.